I have lots of gunpowder. I need to do something about that. So today, the plan is to challenge myself to make a gunpowder shop out of only gray blocks. So here we are in the Wixcraft shopping district, and I've picked out this corner, and I think this is the spot that I'm going to use for this building. So the goal of this shop is for me to be able to make something out of only gray blocks. I think this is going to be kind of challenging, but we're going to give it a go and kind of see how it turns out. So I've got some materials, I've got a spot picked out, and now I'm going to start building, and we're going to get a shape going and see what we can come up with. Okay, so I think what I'm going to try to do here is to go with a little bit of a factory feel for this building. The reason for that is I think being only able to use gray, I think that'll fit really well with that sort of style. So something like you might have seen before, like a power plant or a factory, where everything's pretty much grayscale, but you have a lot of detail and some more depth and little things that kind of make it stand out a little bit. So I've started out with this shape, and what I have so far is just a big cube in the middle, and on the outsides I've put a couple little outcrops. And so what I try to do with these is to go with one that is a little bit more short and fat, which would be this one on this side, and then I've gone with a little bit more of a tall and skinny over on the other side. And what that does is it just kind of varies the heights a little bit. If you kind of look at how this meets the sky, you've got a little bit of a ledge over here, and then you've got the tall middle part that'll stand out, and then that's going to bring everything into the middle. And then you have this little outcrop on the right, just changes that shape up a little bit, so you're not just getting a straight line coming down. And so I think that looks really nice. And the next thing I'm going to do is go in and start some texturing, and I think start shaping this out a little bit more to how I like it. So I'll see you guys after that. Okay, so I've gone through and done a little bit of texturing, and this is what we're working with now. So the first thing to notice, I would say, would be in a factory building like this, usually you don't see a lot of those clean, sharp edges. And so what I've done is I've gone through and I've taken the corners out a little bit. As you can see, I've put some slabs in, and I've just kind of tried to soften that up a little bit. And I think that really adds to this, especially since I can only really use one color here. We really need to try to work with whatever else we have to be able to make this look nice and give it a little bit more depth and a little bit better of a shape. So as far as the texturing goes, I started with the andesite, and what I did was I actually did a stripe all the way around. You can kind of see it in the middle here, and that's just going to break up the top and bottom sections a little bit better. This wall would look extremely plain and flat without anything on it, even if I were to just randomly put some andesite on there, right? So what I've done instead is I've put some stripes on there, and what that does is it breaks it up a little bit vertically, so it doesn't just look like a really tall wall with nothing on it. And so that's to help with that. And then on the top, I've also done that a little bit as well, and that does the same thing. It's just breaking it up a little bit, otherwise this wall would just look very monotone and very flat and straight. I also went through and put in some more andesite, some polished andesite, as well as some cobblestone, and that just brings that color tone down a little bit. It gives it a little bit different color, and it gives it a little bit more depth, especially in some of these places where I've put walls and windows. And that's something that I really like with the wall blocks, especially when you're just building with one color like this, is that you can put these walls in, and that'll give it some more depth, and it'll make it a little bit more busy. Whereas if you didn't do that, it would just look extremely flat and plain. So that's what we've done there. I also added this entrance, and I've also added a few windows around the edges. So that's what we're working with now. And I think the next step is going to be to add a few more exterior details. I kind of want to dress up these corners a little bit, and then I'm thinking maybe a sidewalk or pathway of some kind. You know, you see factories and stuff, and they've got, you know, towers and maybe antennas and stuff sticking out of the top, and some, you know, equipment. And we're really going to try to bring this thing to life now in the next step here. So I'm going to go through and do that, and I'll be right back. so I've gone in and I've made a few changes, and this is what I have now. So I've added a few like smokestack looking things up on top, and antennas and stuff like that. And so, sorry, I'm getting distracted. What? Hello? So anyways, that's what I'm dealing with. And I've also put some of this lichen down here. I think that kind of spruces it up a little bit. It'll also help light up these pathways at night. So I'm not completely done with this. I have a couple more little ideas that I think I want to add. So the first one is I've gone and collected some of this coral. And so I'm going to try to put some of this around the building. And I'm hoping... Right, okay, so there it goes. So as it's dying, it's turning gray, right? Since we can't have actual plants around here, I think it'd be kind of cool to give a kind of a dead vibe. It almost gives me like the Lorax vibes, if you guys have seen that. So having these dead plants out here is just going to help us kind of improve the atmosphere a little bit. And it gives it a little more texture around the bottom too, which is good, especially since everything's so much of the same color. I'm actually going to, yeah, so much of the same color. I think that's really going to bring this all together super well. So the other thing I wanted to do was add a little smoke, right? So you got a factory out here, and we're pumping out gunpowder and whatever else. So up top, I've got these campfires, and I'm going to see if I can kind of place these underneath maybe some of these blocks. Maybe if I go like under here, see if that smoke will come through. Yeah, it does. Okay, cool. So yeah, so I think I'm going to, something like that. Just gives it a little bit of movement, and it gives it kind of a nice vibe, and so I like having that around. Let's do maybe another one under this. And this is what I was talking about earlier up top. I just added a few more things, so when you're flying over, it kind of looks like, you know, maybe this is some sort of a fan that's blowing out the exhaust, and then you've got these antennas coming up, as well as like smokestacks and stuff like that. Yeah, beautiful. I like it. Okay, so I think the exterior is actually pretty close to being complete. I'm thinking I'm going to terraform a little bit more around here and just kind of clean this up. But I think the next step is actually to start working on the interior. And so for the interior, I've got a few ideas, but I'm going to get in there and start working, and then we'll come back and I'll show you guys what I come up with.
Yeah.
I had some
Backwards.
visitors. But,
Apparently. Okay.
easy
Three
work.
more.
No problem at all.
All right. Well, you won't be seeing me for a while.
Okay, good luck.
I better get that Diggy Diggy Hole song on. I am a dwarf and I'm digging a hole. Diggy Diggy Hole.
Alright, and just like that, we are done. So let's go down here and take a little look. So here's what we've got. I've changed the front up a little bit. I put this little sidewalk in, and I kind of... Hey, buddy. So anyways, we've got the front figured out, and we've got this tree, this little dead tree. I tried to just keep everything pretty dead, and I was talking with Brady, who's building this one over here, and we kind of realized after we had both started building a little bit that both of these look pretty similar, just kind of opposite in pretty much every which way. So so I put that tree there to kind of continue that streak a little bit and just make it look kind of cool and kind of connect those two buildings a little bit. But anyways, I think that looks good, and I think it brings a little bit of life or death, if you want to call it that, into this. So as you can see at night, we've got that glow lichen just kind of bringing a little bit of light to this building, especially on the bottom. But with that, let's go ahead and take a look at the inside. So with every good shop starts a good name. So there you go. And the first thing we've got is this little table here. You know, you could see maybe some workers working on this or whatever. Back here we've got a screen looking thing, and I just used a bunch of banners, and I think that looks pretty cool. Maybe like a big computer screen of some kind. And then I've spotted around some mine carts. I think that helps the atmosphere a little bit. I've also got chains hanging down everywhere, holding up lighting as well as other things. And over in the corner, we've got some machinery. We've got a little bit more machinery in this corner. Something I tried to do here was to maybe make this look like it was holding, a bunch of gunpowder that maybe just hasn't been processed yet or something like that. So this is just a cauldron with the pressure plate on top of it. I think that looks pretty good. I also think the windows bring in some good natural light and they break up the walls a little bit, which is really nice. Other than that, we've got all of our stock lined up on the walls. We've got gunpowder over here. I also have other things from that farm. So let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all next time.